Students of the EOP have been working really hard throughout the year to support OMA&D efforts to sustain and develop a national model of student services. So please join me as we welcome back to the stage to introduce the 2024 OMA&D Spark Award recipient, Vice President for OMA&D and University Diversity Officer, and the man behind that special dinner, Mr. Ricky Hall.
Thank you all. Last year, I announced the addition of a new OMA&D Community Award, the Spark Award. In a moment, we will watch a video where we will learn more about this new award and more about our inaugural recipient. But first, I want to thank those who helped this recognition come to be. The idea of this award came about during a meeting Regent Tamaki, his daughter Brianna Tamaki, Larry Gossett, Emil Petrie, and I were having. As I reflected on how impressed I was with Brianna, it led me to think about all the amazing students and recent graduates I know who have done so much to change our campus for the better and are making a difference in their communities and across the country. Brianna and I later spoke about this new award, and she agreed to help me draft the proposal that was presented to the FEOP board. Brianna, please stand. This is Brianna. Thank you. Thank you for your inspiration and for your support. It is because of you that we have this new award, so thank you, Brianna. I also want to thank the members of our community who submitted thoughtful nominations. We received some incredible nominations, and each highlighted more and more of the many different ways in which recent OMA&D alumni are already making an impact. This summer, we will be opening the nominations up again for the 2025 Spark Award. I hope each of you will consider pulling forth an early career changemaker from your circle who inspires you and others through your contributions. Now, I have the privilege to announce the inaugural Spark Award recipient, Mariama Suwaneh. Please join me on the stage as we watch a short video featuring Mariama.
My journey at the University of Washington was an interesting one. So I grew up in Redmond, but I was one Afro-Latina, and my mom and I were sort of surviving off of Social Security and child support. So I remember being in Redmond, and everyone around me had parents who had gone to school or had gone to university, and my mom didn't graduate high school. So I was in this unique space of not really knowing what to do. I got to the University of Washington, took a race and education class my second quarter of school, and it revolutionized my understanding of systems, how systems impact race. It gave me an understanding of why I might have been one of 2 Black people that I knew growing up in Redmond at the time. And it really was the catalyst for me deciding that I wanted to figure out how to build community in a way that was different than what I was already seeing around me.
When I think about Mariama's contributions, I think about depth. She didn't flit across the surface of the institution. She wanted to go deep, and I'll give you an example. There was a time when there was serious conflict in the world and on campus, and Mariama would come to me and try to find ways to make peace. And to the point where we started having conversations about work that involved truth and reconciliation and repair, both on campus, but also in our region and in our nation as well, and serious and deep conversations about how to get to truth and reconciliation in our communities so that we can begin the process of healing.
How do you talk about race relations in certain circles? A lot of people leave those out. Mariama talks about it, and not only she just talk about it, she will give you ideas on how to, create and build around it. And so that's what's amazing about her is her fluidity with, her passion with social justice in her community it's apparent, and I'm excited to be working alongside her.
I think the best equity work is done in what I call micro communities, in small spaces with small groups of people. having hard and really important conversation. I have the honor of serving the city of Tacoma, and this has been so much fun. Our department that gets to serve the city and helping to figure out how we do belonging is one of the greatest honors.
In OMA&D's 55th year, we have announced a new recognition award. This new award formally acknowledges another community member whose diversity, equity, and inclusion leadership inspires young and early career changemakers and exemplifies the spirit of the Charles E. Odegaard Award. Specifically, the OMA&D Spark Award recognizes the accomplishments of a recent UW graduate who has made significant DEI contributions while as a University of Washington student and continues to do so post-graduation. The award is community nominated and selected by the Friends of the Educational Opportunity Program Board of Trustees. We're excited to recognize Mariama Suwaneh as the inaugural recipient of this award. Mariama graduated from the UW in 2017 with a degree in political science and went on to earn a master's degree in social science from the University of Chicago. As a student, she was actively involved in the Black Student Union, served as a Black Student Commissioner, and was engaged as a student in the launch of the UW President's Race and Equity Initiative. Since graduating, Mariama has served in roles that have advanced diversity, equity, and inclusion here at the UW and in the community she serves. Currently, she is the Assistant Director of the Tacoma Office of Equity and Human Rights and Assistant Chief Equity Officer for the City of Tacoma. She is also a co-founder of the Eden Hood Collective. Her actions while a student have had a lasting impact, and she continues to make the UW and the community she serves better through her service.
What I love about Mariama being the inaugural Spark honoree is that it is setting the bar and the pace for future honorees. She has accomplished so much in a short professional time in this ever-changing field. It's very fitting.
I am excited to see your growth from here on out because awards are great, recognition is great, but the work doesn't stop.
I'm grateful for this fact. When you came to campus, you managed to find me, and we had opportunities to work together. And when you're an administrator working with students, it doesn't always come easy to come to places like administrative offices, no less to an office of a dean. You trusted me, and you trusted me to engage in real and serious work during a time of real crisis in our nation and real crisis at our university. And I just want to thank you for that. You made my work better. You made our campus better. You changed the campus climate because of you. Your leadership has been profound, and it still resonates. So thank you for trusting me and trusting your university.
On behalf of OMA&D and the Friends of the Educational Opportunity Board of Trustees, I am pleased to present the inaugural Spark Award to Mariama Suwaneh.
It is always such an interesting experience seeing yourself on screen. Oh my gosh, wow, it's my first time watching that video. Good evening. I go to black church, okay? So when I say good evening, you say? That's better. I just want to say a huge shout out to June for making that whole experience in that video an incredible experience. And thank you to the University of Washington for this incredible honor. I have got to start with my MVP speech and say, first and foremost, I give glory to God for opening the doors for me that often felt like they were bolted shut, and to my family and friends who are here, this is yours, this is ours. In preparing for today, I kept coming back to this sort of concept of dreaming. By nature, I'm an academic, so I decided to see what the humanities and social sciences said about the concept of dreaming. And what I found was this, that a variety of philosophers have questioned why we only dream while we are asleep. And what they came to was a consensus that while awake, the average human is too aware of their shortcomings, too aware of their failures, and too aware of their social location to be able to see beyond their reality and transform the impossible to its possible. See, when we are asleep, our brains shut off enough that at least for a few hours every night, we forget the shortcomings, we forget the failures, we forget the social location, and we're able to make the impossible real. As my girl Deshauna Barber says, when you learn to dream with your eyes open, people begin projecting their doubts onto you. You scare them because you remind them of the dreams they chose not to chase. You remind them of the doors that they chose not to open, and you remind them of the steps forward that they chose not to take. So, what is my dream? My dream is a world where we all feel connected to each other, where we do the personal work to become so self-aware that we are open to change, open to compromise, open to empathy that is so transformational, so radical that we can't help but to meet the needs of each other. But the world will tell you that a dream like this, a dream where racism doesn't exist, where wars are no longer fought, where hate no longer exists, is impossible. But how many things were impossible until they weren't? When you dream with your eyes open, you have to remember that you'll be a trailblazer, that you'll be walking into uncharted territory with a vision that only you can see. So despite what philosophers say about our inability to dream with our eyes open, I challenge each of you to be the judge and jury of the validity of your dreams. I want to leave you all with a story that I point to every day in the work that I do as the Chief Equity Officer of the city of Tacoma. It reminds me that, in fact, the impossible is possible. In 2017, I had the life-changing experience to study abroad in Israel and Palestine and to participate in a political and social action tour of the region. I was invited to listen to Israeli military officials, Palestinian activists, religious leaders, and in one interaction had the opportunity to hear from two fathers who participated in this particular nonprofit's work. For 2 years, these two fathers and their families came together at a table to have conversation. That's it, to talk. What was so inspiring about this work? Well, one family was a Palestinian and the other Israeli, but that's not it. The qualifier to be at this table was that you have to have lost a child to the war. The Palestinian father lost his young son to an IDF soldier, while the Israeli father lost his daughter to a Palestinian suicide bomber. But as they stood before us and told us of their 2 years of conversation, they now called each other brother, and they said that they would lay their lives down for one another. Today, we are in a time where folks would call this type of interaction impossible. But I've seen the power of being connected to each other. But it starts first with us as individuals making the decision to be so radically empathetic that it might just transform us. So, I ask you all, what is your dream? And don't just have it while you're asleep. Live it. Dream with your eyes open, y'all. Thank you.
Oh, it's me. Oh, that's me first. Let's give Mariama one more round of applause.